Mr. Akintobi joins us. Is a journalist helping us to make sense of what the papers are saying. Mr. Akintobi, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank God it's Monday. Good morning, Nigeria.
Did you have time to look at what played out of the weekend, from Nigeria's bronze medal to the finals and the drama?
We all followed it with rigid attention. We watched it all to the last minute yesterday. Very interesting tournament, and congratulations to Senegal.
Fantastic. So let's get to the dailies, guys. Let's begin with, I think we should begin with the Vanguard newspaper. This Nigeria, I understand, this Nigeria is where we get started from. This Nigeria leads with misdiagnosis, negligence, fuel silent deaths in hospitals. That's according to a report. From forgotten surgical tools to fatal anesthesia errors, survivors demand accountability as failures expose weak oversight. So the Chimamanda Adichie's son, the family of Chimamanda Adichie, from what has happened, has exposed a lot of things. This has been happening for many years, and people say it happens around the world, but it looks like in our case, sometimes it's quite peculiar. What do you make of it, Mr. Akintobi?
There was a report recently. I mean, of course, our hearts go out to the Chimamanda family on their loss. There was a report recently about some forceps forgotten inside a surgical patient, and that story came out right shortly after the Chimamanda story. And ultimately, of course, sepsis infection developed because, you know, a foreign object is left inside a human cavity. There's supposed to be some sort of tracking methodology whereby after surgery is done, they're supposed to be able to account for every single implement or tool that was used. Usually, after the surgeon is done, he will end up telling somebody, okay, clean up or close up, and the main team will depart. But in more advanced climes, there's an accountability protocol whereby even if the attending surgeon has left, all of the instruments that were used have a register, and they are checked and confirmed that each and every one is accounted for after the surgery. But that's not to say that errors don't happen. Wherever human beings are involved, there's always a possibility for error. But we seem to have made error a science in Nigeria, whereby it's not the exception now, it's the rule. And it simply speaks to a lackadaisical approach to oversight and regulation. It's business as usual. If you go into the general hospitals and even some private hospitals in Nigeria, and you see the way patients are attended to and the procedures by which major life-threatening issues are dealt with, there seems to be a relative nonchalance, despite the fact that we have very competent professionals. When you look at the healthcare systems all over the world, you look at the NHS in the UK, you look at the medical system in the US, many of them are peopled by Nigerian professionals, and they're doing very well over there. But why we've not been able to translate that degree of efficiency to our homegrown medical practice, I think it probably speaks to things like the Nigeria Medical Association, the Ministry of Health, those who should regulate. As we always say, the rules are there, the laws are there, but enforcement is something that we've not developed as a culture in Nigeria. And when it comes to things that affect human life, like medical practice, we can't afford to be lackadaisical or aloof from scrupulous detail, attention to detail. And when you see things like this happen, unavoidable deaths, that's what you're talking about. Deaths that could be avoided because of medical, some of it is actual proper malpractice, and that's why Chimamanda is making a case for the fact that the medical institution should be held accountable, because she feels like there was some negligence, there was some malpractice. I think if we hold people to account more, you know, in Nigeria we have this notion that always karma is God's will, let it go. That's the way God willed it. But if we stand up to wrongdoing, and we make people more accountable for wrongdoing, perhaps it might begin to change this culture of anyhowness, as we call it in Nigeria.
And we had quite an exhaustive conversation on the issues last week, looking at it from the legal perspective and from the perspective of the medical practitioners themselves.
Yes.
I wonder what the difference is, you know, when Nigerian professionals in the medical sector excel abroad, you know, and they put the name of Nigeria on the global map.
Yes.
But the difference is the case. It requires, you know, more scrutiny, you know, such that that excellence can be brought back home.
Absolutely.
But let's head to Abuja Inquirer now. Speaking of excellence, the Abuja Inquirer, that's the, Abuja Inquirer, a headline catches my attention for good reason. FCT workers to Wike, enough is enough. List 22 grievances. We're not beggars. Shut down offices indefinitely. Now, as far as the FCT is concerned, everyone sings the praises of the FCT minister for transforming the federal capital. Many people who haven't been to the FCT in a long while after visiting, they come singing the praise of the minister. But it appears as if that excellence has not been transported to, you know, the management of the human resource itself in the ministry. What are your thoughts on what exactly is happening?
Well, yes, there's great kudos being given to the minister for the infrastructural renewal of Abuja. That's not to say that Abuja was decrepit to begin with. Let's not forget, it's always been a model city. However, yes, there have been some lapses over the years, but generally Abuja has been clean, it's been neat, it's had good freeways and good roads, good road network. Maybe transportation was a bit poor. So, but we can't take it away from the minister that he has actually made some achievements. However, for the people who are actually running the ministry, because he being a political appointee at the top, what he does is dictate strategy and generally determines what he wants to achieve and gives people the job to go do it. So if the people that are actually pulling the levers and getting the job done are airing misgivings and grievances to a level of 22 different points of dissatisfaction, then there's a problem. So you begin to ask that the achievements that are being championed or trumpeted, are they superficial? If the very people who are driving the reform are saying we're dissatisfied, because is it possible that they're not getting paid well, they're not getting remunerated, power is being abused over them, their emoluments are not paid on time? If you have a demoralized workforce, it's not possible for them to perform at optimum levels. So there's a dichotomy here. There's this disconnect between the development we're seeing on the surface and the reality on the ground. If the body is cancerous, the head itself will also to some extent be compromised by that disease that's eating the body up. Perhaps some of this is deriving from the fact that the FCT minister is distracted. Perhaps the attention he should be paying to his workforce, much of it is being diverted in other directions that really are out of his purview and he shouldn't even concern himself with. If he were 100% focused on the FCT, not only would he be commissioning projects, which I think that's all a whole lot of hoopla over nothing, because to me, the lowest common denominator of any administrator is to build roads and bridges. What is the major achievement in the fact that you built a road in 2026 when other countries are dealing with AI, coding, artificial intelligence, climate change? We are beating our chests about building a road, things that have been available since the 1800s. They've been building roads. What's the big deal about building a road or constructing a bridge? I think it's overhyped. So what the real development should be is not actually happening here. We're just making a whole lot of fluff over nothing. So I would like the minister to kind of stay out of rivers for now. He's done with rivers. He did his 8 years. He's moved on. He's now got a major portfolio. Why don't we see Abuja as a smart city that's generating its own power? And, 21st century technological innovations. Building a road is nothing, not in this day and age.
Oh, Mr. Akintobi, if you were to ask all the governors in Nigeria for their achievements, number one of it most likely will be, we built these kilometers of roads, almost like That's the
Bragging rights.
Just to add to Mr. Akidobi, they will even do live broadcast
of the inauguration.
to pay gratuities and pensions.
Yeah.
If you want to say ridiculous, let me not go there.
Vanguard newspaper is next and leads with what's playing out in River State. Yeah, so I'll just read it for mention. I'm still governor. Fubara regrets current political crisis in state. He must protect Fubara, INC tells APC. And lawyers threaten suit against Rivers CJ. But what also catches my attention, Mr. Akintobi, on the front page is that image of President Bola Tinubu returning to Nigeria. The president has been away since late December, and he returned on Saturday. First, he went to Europe, not sure where. Well, we eventually found out he was in France at some point, and then he was at the Abu Dhabi climate conference. Did you miss the president, Mr. Akintobi?
Well, this is one peripatetic president who's been more out than he's been in. So we've gotten used to him not being here. So the notion, you miss somebody when you have them most of the time and they go once in a while. But if somebody's gone all the time, then you don't miss anymore because you're used to him not being here. But the thing that struck me about that image was the idea that all these officials have to go and line up, leave their jobs, leave their families, leave their offices, and go and line up to welcome the president back to his own domain. It's not that he's arrived in a foreign country and there's a parade of honor, or that the welcoming country puts out its officials to meet a visiting dignitary. But here, when the president is going, we have a lineup. When he's coming, we have a line. These are the same people he's going to sit with in his office a few hours.
State governors leave their states.
Yes, state governors leave their states.
Bye-bye.
Yes, to go and say daddy.
Daddy or yo-yo.
I think it's a waste of resources, a waste of time, and it speaks to the casualness with which we govern in this country, with which we administer. It's still that
strongman politics.
Absolutely.
It's I don't even want to go there. For me as a person, I've made up my mind that certain class of these politicians, there's nothing we can do about it. Just manage them the way they are. If you like, talk from now to tomorrow. If you see two governors today, trust me, when they hear this, we'll see 5 the next time the president is traveling. So they're like daring you to say, all you people do is talk on television. And I believe, this is my opinion, personal opinion, a lot of politicians in Nigeria are not Democrats. They don't understand democracy, but it's just an avenue to pursue their ambition. So we'll expand that conversation another day.
Yes.
I'm going somewhere with that conversation, but it's not for today. Let's go to New Telegraph quickly before we wrap up.
Okay.
40 terrorists killed. I like this one because this is good news for us.
Yes.
In Borno, as NAFOL planned attacks. What do you make of this?
Yes, nice one. They strafed the forests and they managed to bomb people into extinction. From the days of Super Tucano, we've been waiting for this kind of thing to happen. We've been excited that, yeah, we got fighting forces. And now America gave us some military equipment recently. I think some Air Force equipment was procured a bit earlier last year sometime. So we've got the equipment. However, there's always been this consideration of the fact that there could be collateral damage. We know that these kidnappers are using their victims as human shields. So the military's always been very conservative about, if we just carpet bomb the whole place, there will be civilian casualties. So there's some measure of tactical conservatism about how to go about this. So when you see these kind of reports that say 40 of them were killed by an Air Force strike, it gladdens the heart, because it means we're winning, we're getting some advantage. Because for too long, these ragtag, never-do-well criminals have been committing atrocities, killing Nigerians and getting away with it. So when we win one for the team, when we take one for the team, Team Nigeria, it's something to renew our hope for tomorrow in terms of this war. So this is very good news. I'm happy about this. Let's see more. Let's encourage our military, that whatever it takes. We were talking the other day, you asked me, and that was a trick question, but you put me on the spot. You said, how much do I think a Nigerian military person needs to be paid on a regular basis, monthly, annually, to be able to do his duties properly? I think encouragement of the military is key.
Fantastic. So, our military, thank you. The other day we celebrated Armed Forces Remembrance. It's now Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day.
Yes.
On the 15th of January. So we thank them for doing an incredible work as far as this is concerned. But Mr. Dayakintobi, thank you so much for coming on the program. We do appreciate it.
My pleasure always.